ever feel like trying to search on the web, like even with Google, is a little like searching in the dark?
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we are flipping on the lights,
Yeah.
giving you X-ray vision.
Let's go.
We are diving deep into Google's Search Quality Evaluator Guidelines.
Yes.
March 2024 edition.
Okay.
And these aren't just some like techie manual that nobody understands. This is like the rule book for how Google decides what's actually good on the web.
Yeah, it's like we're peeking behind the curtain. How does Google search actually work?
Right. I feel like I'm about to learn like a secret handshake or something.
Mhm.
So like, if these are the rules, who's actually enforcing them? Is
Right.
it all algorithms?
Yeah.
Just ones and zeros?
Well, surprisingly, no.
No.
So these guidelines are actually used by real people, Google's search quality raters.
Okay.
And their job is to analyze websites and search results based on these guidelines, and then all their feedback is used to make sure that Google's algorithms are working.
So there are actual humans out there judging websites.
Yes.
That makes me feel a little bit better, honestly.
Yeah.
Like my grandma's casserole recipe website isn't being judged by a robot.
It's not only robots.
Okay.
Mm.
It's like a human touch.
Yes, it's a blend. So you have human judgment,
Okay.
and then that goes into machine learning.
Gotcha.
Now, one single rater doesn't control the fate of a website. But when the raters as a whole, they all start seeing patterns. Let's say they see a bunch of websites with, like, gibberish content, but they're ranking really high.
Yeah.
That sends a signal to Google. Okay, we need to tweak some things in our systems.
Okay, so it's like this giant feedback loop. So what are some of the biggest things that these raters are looking for? Like what makes a website good in Google's eyes?
Well, I think one of the most crucial aspects, especially for, just the average person, is how Google handles topics that could directly impact your life.
Okay.
And these are called your money or your life topics. We call them YMYL for short.
YMY. Okay, so we're talking like serious stuff here.
Very serious.
Yeah.
So we're talking health, we're talking finance,
Huh.
safety, even like big societal issues. These are all YMYL topics because the information on these topics, it can have real world consequences.
Yeah.
So think about it this way. Let's say you found a website that's giving you medical advice,
Okay.
but then later on, you find out this website was made by someone with absolutely no medical background.
Uh-huh.
That's a YMYL situation where inaccurate information could be dangerous.
That's a really good point. I think it's easy to forget that not everything that you read online is trustworthy,
Right.
especially when it comes to something like your health or your finances.
Exactly.
So how does Google make sure that like the information that we're getting on these YMYL topics is accurate and trustworthy?
Well, that is where EET comes in.
EIT.
Expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trust.
Okay.
These are like the 4 pillars of quality for Google.
Okay, let's unpack that a little bit. So expertise, experience, authoritativeness, trust. So is Google like looking for websites with a PhD and like a Nobel Prize?
Well, not necessarily. It's more about looking for sources that, just make sense in the context of the information being presented.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I am reading an article online about car repair, I would want to see that article was written by a mechanic, or at least somebody who has experience fixing cars.
So it's not just about having like official credentials, but more about showing that you have real knowledge and experience in a particular field.
Precisely. And that expertise, it can come from a variety of sources.
Okay.
Let's say you find a blog post about managing anxiety, and you find out that the person who wrote that blog post, they've openly shared their own struggles with anxiety.
Right.
So they may not be a licensed therapist, but their personal experience brings valuable insight to the table.
Right. That makes sense. So it's not just about like being a big name or having a fancy title. It's like, do you actually know what you're talking about? But what about this authoritativeness part of EEAT?
Yes.
How does that play into things?
So authoritativeness is all about reputation. It's about being known and recognized within a specific field or community.
Uh-huh.
So, for example, a website like the Mayo Clinic, that's a great example. Highly authoritative when it comes to health information.
Right.
Because they have this long-standing reputation, you know that the people who are writing and creating content on their website are medical experts.
Yeah, so it's like the street cred of the internet.
Exactly. And you earn that over time.
Right.
By being consistent, by putting out high-quality work. Think about Wikipedia.
Okay.
Not perfect,
Right.
but generally considered reliable.
Yeah.
Because they have this huge community that's constantly reviewing and updating.
Okay. And then there's trust, which seems like a really big one.
Huge.
So how does Google actually determine if a website is trustworthy?
So trust is a biggie. And it's kind of like all the other things we've talked about. They all kind of weave into this idea of trust. And one of the ways that Google thinks about trust is, transparency, right? Security. So does this website have clear contact information? Is the website secure? Do they have a privacy policy? Those are all signals that this is a trustworthy website.
So it's like checking to see if a store has like a working phone number and a secure checkout before you buy something.
Precisely. And remember those human raters we talked about?
Yes.
Part of their training is also looking for signs of manipulation, signs of deception.
Deception, like what? Give me the red flags. I want to be able to spot those shady sites a mile away.
Okay, so big red flag, nonsensical content, gibberish. So if the writing is just like riddled with errors, it doesn't make sense. It feels like it was just like copy-pasted from a million different websites. That's a big warning.
I've definitely stumbled across those before where it's just like, are they even speaking English?
Yeah, it's like, what is this? Another one is just like tons of ads.
Oh, yeah.
Like an overwhelming number of ads.
Right.
And especially ads that block the content. Like you're trying to read an article and a pop-up just takes over your whole screen. You can barely close it.
Oh.
Or you had to scroll through like this wall of ads to even get to the content.
Oh, it's like this obstacle course.
It's the worst. And then, of course, you have contradictory information. So when a website is presenting information that just like totally contradicts well-established facts,
Yeah.
especially those YMYL topics, like it's one thing if it's like a silly meme page, but if they're giving medical advice that's completely wrong, that's a huge red flag.
Right, because like on something like medical advice, trusting the wrong source could be really harmful.
Absolutely. So you always want to double check that information, especially when it comes to your health, your finances, your safety.
So we need to be our own fact checkers too.
In a way, yes. Don't just take things at face value online. See if you're seeing this information on other reputable websites. Like, check, does this website have a bias? Are they trying to sell you something? A little bit of skepticism goes a long way.
Okay, so question everything. I like it. What else should we be wary of?
One more thing. Websites that are just not transparent at all about who's behind them. Like, if you can't find any information about the author, the organization, how to contact them, that's also a sign that this might not be the most legitimate website.
It's like that thing, like if you have nothing to hide, you don't hide anything.
Exactly. Legitimate websites are up front. They're like, here's who we are, here's what we do. So always take a moment to look around, make sure the website checks out.
Okay, so we've talked about all the red flags, all the things to watch out for. But let's flip the script. What does, like, a gold star, A-plus website look like, according to Google?
Well, Google actually uses this rating system.
Okay.
It goes from lowest to highest.
Okay.
And that's how they kind of assess the quality of a web page.
So it's not just like a pass-fail kind of thing.
No, there's some nuance there. And it's not like a one-size-fits-all. Like a highest rating for a news article, that's going to look different from a highest rating for, a forum discussion, for example.
Right. Okay. I'm really curious about this. What would be some examples of like those highest rated things?
Sure. So imagine like you go to the Cleveland Clinic's website.
Okay. Yeah.
The actual medical institution, world renowned.
Right.
That would be a highest rating, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they have that reputation. They're a leading authority when it comes to medical information. You know that they're consistently putting out high-quality content from actual medical experts.
You're not going to find, like, questionable medical advice on their website.
Right. Or think about a website like Snopes.
Okay, yeah.
They debunk, like, myths and urban legends.
Right.
Everything on their website is, like, meticulously researched. They cite all their sources.
Do you trust it?
Yes. That's going to be a highest, most likely.
Okay, so those are some good ones. Those are reassuring examples. Like, there are websites out there that are holding themselves to those standards. But on the flip side, like, what about the lowest? The ones that make Google want to, like, hit the delete button.
So those are the ones where you really want your spidey senses to be tingling.
Yeah.
We're talking, like, websites that are, like, deliberately spreading harmful conspiracy theories or, like, promoting hate speech.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Or they're trying to, like, trick you with those phishing scams. They usually lack any kind of transparency. They're hiding their contact information. They're really just designed to, either deceive or exploit people.
Just like avoid those, like the plague.
Exactly. And the good news is, I think just from what we talked about today with the whole EEAT thing, the red flags, you kind of have like a crash course now in how to spot those yourself.
Yeah, I feel very like, whoa. what's the word? Like a just more equipped now.
Empowered.
Empowered, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
To spot those shady websites, I'm not going to fall for it.
That's what we want. We want everybody to be informed and discerning. Question what you see online, especially those YMYL topics, very important. Verify that information. Look at multiple sources.
This deep dive has been, I mean, really, really eye-opening. Like, we went from blindly trusting Google to understanding, like, the method behind it all, and that's really cool.
It's so cool. And, when you understand these guidelines, we can make better choices as users about what websites we're going to trust and engage with. And then, who knows, maybe we can help make the internet a little bit of a better place.
I love that. So I think the big takeaways here are check your sources, trust your gut, and happy searching, everyone.
Happy searching.